And today we'll be discussing and maybe even practicing a little bit a very important topic, which is personal mission. So Prabhupada had a great mission, and for us as his followers, it's very important to find our mission, that is Prabhupada's mission. And we'll be reading one very historical verse from Bhagavad Gita, which actually made difference for Srila Prabhupada and prompted him to make a very bold step, and at nearly the age of 70 to board a cargo ship and go all the way to this country from India to start his mission. Anyone knows which verse we are talking about from Bhagavad Gita? Yes, 241, famous historical verse. So we will chant prayers to be glorifying spiritual masters, Vaishnavas of the Supreme Lord. Om Yantivaram Sarandanam Sukaya Chuksuranvitam Yanatasmai Shrivaraya Namaha Shri Chaitanya Krishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadam Nayam Savayantikam Pachadavaruddhishcha Kripa Sindhudevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Taimantariya Mahavaro, Guru Makshatiya, Mushukrishna, Bhutevana Sudasa Sudasa, Ashishtavam Bhakti Rasayana Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. But those of you who know this verse, you can chant responsibly. Yavasayatmika buddhi. Yavasayatmika buddhi. Ekeha Kuru Nandana. Ekeha Kuru Nandana. Bahushakaya Nantascha. Bahushakaya Nantascha. Udhayo Vyavasainam. Udhayo Vyavasainam. Yavasayatmika buddhi. Ekeha Kuru Nandana. Bahushakaya Nantascha. Udhayo Vyavasainam. So translation for Bhakti Divine Grace is Bhakti Swami. So Prabhupada. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. Okanao Chandra Purus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. Perfect. A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Yavasayatmika intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 2262 states, Shad Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Suprita Nishchai Krishne Bhakti Kaile Sarvata Makritahare. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. Primitive activities are the engagements of one's reactions from past good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in these activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are for the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurva. A person in Krishna consciousness is the rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva, or Krishna, is the root of all material causes. As by watering the root of a tree, one automatically distributes water to the leaves and branches, so by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practice under the able guidance of a spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student, and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instructs us in his famous prayers to the spiritual master as follows. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada yasya prasada nagati kadopi nayastavam tasya yashastri samyam vande guru shri charanavadindam. By satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for His mercy 3 times a day and offer my respectful obeisances unto Him, my spiritual master. The whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body, not theoretically, but practically, when there is no longer a chance for sense gratification manifested in spiritual activities. One who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by various types of fruitive acts. Yavasayatmika buddhi ekeva kurunamala mushakavanantascha budayam yavasayanam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Purus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So this is a very powerful verse, which is helping us to understand that the most important thing in life is to be focused on the goal. If you have a clear goal and if you're focused on the goal, you can definitely achieve it. And what should be the goal of one's life? And so Prabhupada explains, our goal in life should be to make Krishna happy. Because if you will make Krishna happy, you will be happy. Simple. Because we're parts and parcel of Krishna, and so our happiness depends on Krishna's happiness. How many of you want to be happy in Krishna consciousness? Okay. Anyone wants to be miserable? Okay, no one's interested in that, that's good. And how do we make Krishna happy? That's a big question. Because Krishna has everything. How can you make happy someone who does not need anything, right? If you have some beggar on the street and you give him little money or you give him some food, he is happy. But try to make happy someone like Bill Gates, that's mission impossible, right? But still, Krishna has a desire. And that desire is to have everyone with him. That as loving parent is not very happy to see his children suffering. So in the same way, Krishna is not happy when he has so many of his children forgetting him and as a result suffering in this world. And solution is to be back with Krishna, right? And so, in the same way as we have the experience that when we turn to Krishna and we start practicing Krishna consciousness, our lives have changed for better, right? Anyone has this experience? Since you started practicing Krishna consciousness, you have some positive changes in your life? Yes. Anyone has negative changes? So it's only positive. So we can see how it is happening. Anyone wants to share what are the positive changes you've experienced in your life since you started practicing Krishna consciousness? Yes.
Yeah, I felt a lot of differences since I started chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And it really makes a lot of differences. I start knowing myself, who am I? And what am I doing? And I start observing my senses and what are the attractions that my senses are wanted, you know. So Krishna consciousness is one of the best things I ever knew in my life, you know. So I think Hare Krishna mantra, the Prabhupada has given the easiest way to get involved in the Krishna consciousness. It's very simple and easy for anybody.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes?
My perspective of seeing things has dramatically changed for the positive. And as Prabhu is mentioning, I could tangibly feel that I'm being more present with myself and people around.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anyone else? Nobody else had any positive things. Yes.
My material attachment is slowly coming down.
Okay. Very good. Somebody else? Yes.
My anxiety decreased down.
Anxiety is decreasing. Okay, good. Anyone else? Yes.
The sense of purpose in life.
The sense of purpose, yes. Very good. So many people don't have any purpose. Someone else? Okay, let me ask, how many of you gained new friends after you started practicing Krishna consciousness? Okay. How many of you had your desires fulfilled since you started practicing Krishna consciousness? How many of you had very special, very deep knowledge which is not available in the material world? Okay, very good. How many of you feel more peaceful? How many of you feel more blissful? So we can go on and on and on and on and on, unlimitedly. So we can understand why Srila Prabhupada says, and the whole Guru Parampara says, that in this world, everything is available. But people are still suffering. Why? Like America, very wealthy country. Why so many people are still miserable? Because they don't have Krishna consciousness. We can see so many prosperous nations, and still there are so many miserable people who don't even like to live anymore. Right? They want to finish their lives because they don't know what's the purpose. They don't understand what's the purpose of life. So they're so unhappy. And so naturally they are so miserable, and Krishna is not very happy with that situation. And he wants them to change their life for better by taking up to Krishna consciousness, by coming back to him. And so that's the purpose. And this is why Srila Prabhupada, the perfection of life is to live in Vrindavan and practice Krishna consciousness, right? And so Srila Prabhupada had that perfection, but then he left Vrindavan to come to America. Why? Because his spiritual master wanted him to dedicate his life to propagation of Krishna consciousness. And he said, I'm just one Indian, and just look how much I achieved. And so just imagine if all the Indians will follow in my footsteps. What can be done? So you should feel very privileged to have this position in life where you can follow perfectly in Prabhupada's footsteps and actually benefit the world by Krishna consciousness. And so that is our mission. That Krishna consciousness is giving us so much benefit, but we want to share those benefits with other people as well. But sometimes it's easier to say than do, because there is there are a number of obstacles on this path. It says that Krishna consciousness is very simple, but it's not necessarily easy. How many of you have this realization that it is simple, but it is not easy? So there are so many obstacles, right? And I'm sure many of you would agree with that. That yes, it would be nice to actually help everyone to become Krishna conscious and achieve what Srila Prabhupada envisioned in the first purpose of ISKCON, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and educate all peoples in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and achieve real unity and peace in the world. So, I have no doubt that all of you like that purpose, right? And yet, if I would ask you, are there any obstacles in executing that purpose? I'm sure you can name quite a few, right? So anyone can come up with any obstacles, your personal obstacles? Yes?
Sometimes laziness.
Laziness, okay. Anything else?
Family responsibilities.
Family?
Responsibilities.
Family responsibilities, okay. Yes?
Time management to do good sadhana.
Time management,
Like not good time management.
okay.
Which means like difficult in sadhana.
Yeah, it requires good time management. Anything else?
Work and spiritual life balance.
Work?
And spiritual life balance.
Yeah, work responsibilities?
Yeah.
Work responsibilities, yes.
Waking up in
Yes.
For me, it's my health conditions.
Health conditions, okay, good. Yes.
waking up in the morning.
Waking up in the morning.
For me, it's thinking clearly. Thinking clearly.
Thinking
Clearly.
clearly, okay. Thinking clearly. Any other obstacles? Any lacking?
Lack of faith.
Lack of faith, okay. Anything else?
Overcoming conditioning.
Overcoming our conditioning.
Lack of time.
Lack of time.
Fighting our mind.
What to do with the mind?
Fighting our mind.
Fighting with our mind. That's an interesting sport. Fighting with the mind.
That's a tough fight.
Huh?
I said that's a tough fight.
Tough fight, yes. And so what's the solution? Solution is, Srila Prabhupada explains, is focus. I mean, this verse is saying it is focus. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport what should be the focus. And the focus should be the instruction of my Guru. And so it is very simple that if we want to know what Krishna wants, we have to think what my Guru wants. And even if you don't have your personal Diksha Guru yet, or even if you are not aspiring yet, you still have Guru. And who is your Guru? Srila Prabhupada, he is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for every single ISKCON member. Right? Because all our Diksha Gurus, they act on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and they execute his mission. Right? So that's the most important condition for being Diksha Guru in ISKCON, to be Srila Prabhupada's representative. And so we can understand that whatever Srila Prabhupada wants, this is what we should want. And what he wants, he made very clear in his books and in his classes, and especially he made it very clear in his purposes. That eventually he wanted to achieve real unity and peace in the world by practicing, by introducing people to spiritual knowledge and spiritual practices. And how many of you are familiar with Prabhupada's life story, have read Prabhupada Lilamrita or other books about Srila Prabhupada? Not too many. So it is very important for all of us to know Srila Prabhupada's life story, because he achieved a lot. The list of his achievements is incredible. And just one point from the list of his achievements is 108 temples in 11 years, right? And it might sound just like a number for you, right? But if you think about it, 108 temples in 11 years, on average, it's about, what, 9 temples a year? About 10 temples a year. Right? And 10 temples a year, that means on average, one temple a month or something, almost, right? One temple in 5 weeks. That I know you have plans for expanding your temple here. How many of you are involved? Not just giving little donation, but taking responsibility and working on the temple expansion. Anyone who is carrying this responsibility? Yes, okay. You do it. Huh?
Someone has to look after Srila Prabhupada's house.
Yes. And so, I've been involved in temple construction myself. It took more than 10 years of very, very hard work of making that happen. And if anyone tells me, can you do it again? I'll say no thanks. These kind of things one can do only once in a lifetime. So, and for me, if I would not know that Srila Prabhupada is a real historical personality who did live and who was acting, was a real personality, I would never believe that it is humanly possible 108 temples in 11 years. My God, you must be joking. It's like, because opening temples is not like making pancakes or something. It's much harder than that. But how this was possible for him. And so we can understand that, of course, Srila Prabhupada was making a lot of effort, but without very special blessings of Guru and Krishna, it was not possible, right? It would never be possible. So Srila Prabhupada got very, very special blessings from Guru and Krishna. And that's why he was doing all these amazing things. And achieved so much. So now I have a question for you. How many of you would love to have special blessings from Guru and Krishna to do something very serious in Krishna consciousness? Okay, very good. So now, $1 billion question. How do you achieve that result? How do you get so much mercy? Because if you look at Srila Prabhupada's example, the very first meeting he had with his spiritual master, he already got a life mission from him, right? What did Srila Bhakti Rasayana told Srila Prabhupada? You are intelligent young man and you know English, so why can't you preach Krishna consciousness in English, in English-speaking world? So from the very first meeting, and sometimes we're thinking, that Srila Bhakti Rasayana gave our Srila Prabhupada such powerful mission immediately, so he empowered him. And why my Guru Maharaj is not giving me such a powerful mission? Any of you had this question? Yes? Anyone was wondering about it? But here is the secret, that when Srila Prabhupada came to that famous class Srila Bhakti Rasayana was holding, he looked very different from other people. And what's the difference? He was wearing this khadi dress, and he was wearing this little turban, from which it was very clear that he was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi. And so he was a freedom fighter for independence of British rule. And not only by his appearance, but by his question, that became very, very clear that he's not just a follower, but he's very active and very dedicated follower of Gandhi. Because the question, Srila Bhakti Rasayana Sagar was making that point, that we should establish Krishna consciousness and propagate Krishna consciousness very actively. And Srila Prabhupada said, how can we do that if we are colonized nation, if we are subjugated nation by British? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati understood that very well, that Srila Prabhupada is very concerned because British were actually destroying Krishna consciousness in the country. They were destroying Vedic or Krishna conscious values in the country very systematically and very purposefully. And even physically, they were destroying so many things which were connected to Krishna consciousness and spiritual life. Because they were thinking, all these beliefs are barbaric and all these people have to become Christians. And Srila Prabhupada saw that British were not just colonizing India physically, but they wanted to colonize it spiritually. And so for him, these were not just external, but these were like spiritual enemies. And this was the reason, because he was a Vaishnava from birth. And so he realized that so much of materialistic influence is coming from British, and if we kick them out of the country, then we can be free to practice Krishna consciousness without any obstacles. And Srila Bhakti Rasayana understood that. And yet his response was very surprising. He said, Krishna consciousness is transcendental and it does not depend on the external circumstances, and it cannot wait. And Srila Prabhupada was very surprised by such answer. All his objections were fully dismissed. And then Srila Bhakti Rasayana said, then you know English so well because, lecture was in English and Srila Prabhupada's question was in English also, so they were conversing in English. And he said, you know English so well, so why don't you preach Krishna consciousness in English-speaking world? And so this was revolutionary for Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was revolutionary. But this answer was even more revolutionary than he could imagine. Because he was trying to defeat enemies in his own place, in India. But what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was indicating, that go to enemies' home and defeat them there. Go to the root instead of, weeding out the weeds externally and leaving the root. Just go and, they try to convert you into their consciousness, you convert them into Krishna consciousness. And this is what he did. And this was actually the reason why he went not to England, as many of his brothers did, but he went here to this country because already back then America was predominant country leading the world, and it still is. And so Prabhupada knew exactly, if I will convert America, I will convert the whole planet. And you can see that first he went to this Butler, Pennsylvania. Who would ever know of Butler, Pennsylvania if Prabhupada wouldn't go there? But, you know, and he became quite popular there, but he didn't stay there. He actually left it at the first opportunity and he went to New York, even though he knew absolutely nobody in New York. But this was his plan, because he didn't come to America for Butler, Pennsylvania. He came to get this whole country, and he knew that financial and managerial capital of the United States is New York. And if I establish Krishna consciousness there, that's it. And we can see, historically, the global expansion of the movement happened because of the New York Srila Prabhupada disciples. So we can see that it was very minute calculation by Srila Prabhupada and very, very clear plan. And this is how he made it possible. It was not, you know, it was not coincidence. It was not by chance, it was by design. And so yes, so Krishna gave him very clear intelligence. But yeah, it all happened because he was really doing mission impossible, if you think about it, right? And so actually he got such a powerful instruction and empowerment. It says, so Prabhupada is saying that along with the instruction of your guru, you get the power to execute. The power comes along with the instruction. And he got this powerful instruction, and he got fully empowered to do all these amazing things. And he got that special blessing, special mercy, because he was already making an attempt. He was already acting. He was already trying his best. Even though he didn't know how to do it, but he was taking very active, very responsible position. He was taking responsibility for changing things. He was not just sitting idly and waiting for things to happen. And so this is a very important condition to understand and follow. That if you want to be empowered, you have to take responsibility now and make effort now. And if you just wait for someone to empower you, wake you up and say, okay, you are empowered now, that will never happen. Right? Because your effort is an indication of your sincere desire. And if you don't make any effort, you get zero empowerment. You'll be just wasting your life. And yeah, we can see that Srila Prabhupada made a lot of effort. He went through so many hardships before he actually achieved what he envisioned. But he had a very, very clear vision, very clear focus. That even before boarding Jalaruta, it became known that he's going to America. America, and he was already like nearly 70 years old. And one reporter came to him and he was asking Swamiji, why are you going to America? What are you going to do there? You're already 70 years old. And you know what Srila Prabhupada's response was to that reporter? And we know it because that reporter published an article in a local newspaper. And he described Srila Prabhupada's answer. And the answer was, I'm not just any of your regular Swamis, I'm a very special person. Because I am the head of a very big spiritual movement with hundreds of centers in America and all over the world. And I have thousands of disciples waiting for me in America. And when I come there, I will travel around the United States preaching Krishna consciousness. And after I finish preaching in America, my disciples will organize a world tour for me to preach Krishna consciousness. And not only he never been to America when he was saying these things, but he didn't even know anybody there. And so, how do we understand that Srila Prabhupada was saying all these things, even though they were not really true at that time? But the most amazing thing that they became true, that exactly what Srila Prabhupada described actually happened. So, anyone has an idea why Srila Prabhupada was talking about these things? Faith. Yeah, because he had faith. If his guru wanted, it's already done. And only time separates me from that. So he was so focused on the future, right? And so this is what it takes, a very clear focus if you want to achieve anything. And so this focus comes from a burning desire to do something very, very serious in your life. You know, not just to become another waste of human skin. Right? Just waste your life and live just, basically, not even live, just exist. Right? And so, yes, it's very important to ask yourself this question. Do I want to live my life for you in Krishna consciousness, or do I just want to exist and perish one day the same way as so many other thousands and millions of people? So that sense of responsibility and efforts, this is what makes real difference between someone who is Krishna consciousness and someone who is not. And so, and why some of you mentioned that, I think this was the first obstacle, laziness, right? And why this laziness comes, why I don't feel enthusiastic of taking responsibility and doing something and changing my life, and why I want to stick to my comfort zone, right? Because in the morning, comfort zone means bad. Why do I want to stay in my comfort zone and never leave it? Why do I have this laziness? And the reason is very simple. That is, we are fearful what will happen if I leave my comfort zone, right? And we have good reasons to be fearful, because if I leave my comfort zone, I know I'll have to face a lot of challenges. And I don't want to face a lot of challenges. I want to live very cozy life. And I want Krishna consciousness to be cozy yoga, right? Just practice a little bit, snake, snake, ram, ram. And let Krishna solve all my problems, and let me enjoy Krishna, right? So that's very materialistic mentality, unfortunately. Because Krishna conscious mentality is that we should bring Krishna pleasure rather than use Krishna for our pleasure. And that is really the difference between mundane religiosity and real Krishna consciousness. And yes, responsibility, taking responsibility, and yes, because if you're not ready to take responsibility and hardships in Krishna consciousness, you would have to suffer anyway. That will be the reward, that all the pain and all the suffering will come anyway, but it will be fruitless. It will not give any benefit. It will just lead to samsara, continuation of material existence. And of course, who might think, well, there is no rush. I can become Krishna conscious in one of my next lives. But there is no guarantee, because we know it very well that Maya is very powerful and we can forget Krishna at any time. And so unless and until we're acting in a responsible way, we can easily forget Krishna and become lost in the material world. And that's why guidance from the spiritual master should be the most important thing in our life. And the question we should be asking, what is the instruction of my Guru, and how do I dedicate my life to the fulfillment of that instruction? What is his desire, and how do I make it happen? How do I help him to fulfill that desire? And let me see how many of you are interested to taking more responsibility for fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's desire and your spiritual master's desire, and do something substantial in this lifetime, not just for you, but for Srila Prabhupada's mission. Anyone? Okay, very good. Actually, we need leaders who would show the way, and Mother Shri Guru Sharma Padma was mentioning that we have special leadership school in Mayapur. We call it IDEAL. We don't claim it to be ideal, but IDEAL is an acronym which helps to understand what's the purpose of it. And so IDEAL stands for Innovative Development to Empower Authentic Leaders. So it is meant for any professional devotee who has leadership capacity. And so these training courses, series of training courses, are meant to give you all knowledge and skills and contacts and information for establishing your own social spiritual project through which you can actually enjoy doing what you love to do for Krishna and earn money with it. There is a possibility, and there are many possibilities like that, that instead of having a job which has nothing to do with your spiritual life and is just, a waste of time just to pay bills, you can actually do something very substantial for Krishna and earn even more than you would earn at your workplace. And so that you wouldn't have to live in this kind of duality wherein most of your time and most precious time of your day is taken by, honestly people, these modern jobs are just very tricky way to enslave people. It's kind of slavery, modern day slavery. Right? Because they take your life, but in return, they just give you enough to pay your bills, right? And once you stop, you can't pay your bills anymore and you will die. And so they just give you a little bit, right? Enough to survive. And just to keep you working till you die, right? Because otherwise you can't pay your mortgage. You know what the word mortgage, where it is coming from? From the word more. Yeah, more is connected to the word mortgage. That's the idea. You pay till you die. So you work basically till you die. Right? So that's really harsh slavery. And so this is our humble attempt to liberate those devotees who are interested in it from this modern day slavery and actually refocus and do whatever you want to do for Krishna and be your own boss. And there are plenty of opportunities, especially here in this country for that. And if you're interested, we actually can provide you with more information on the subject. Of course, it might take effort and little time to establish yourself, but it's better to make effort for a few years and then become free for doing whatever you love doing rather than, spend your whole life in a slavery. And actually, yeah, we are for a couple of years already running the course, and we have very interesting results. That we have 2 batches of alumni, and many of them are doing very amazing projects. And in different countries in Western world, because it's international school, including some alumni from the United States. And one alumni actually set not just one, but 2 businesses, 2 spiritual businesses. And both of them are doing very, very well. And yes, it's kind of very humble effort, but we are encouraging our graduates to think very big, because this is what Srila Prabhupada has done, and sometimes they get the ideas which are so big that it's even hard for us to believe how ambitious they are. And last year we had one project like that. A couple of alumni came together and they said, okay, this is what we want to do. I couldn't believe it. I can't even tell you all the details because it's such an ambitious project. It's connected to United Nations and all the leading world governments. And even I had the doubts that whether it will work or not, but then I thought, okay, they seem to be qualified, so let me try it out. And once we started working on it, the results started coming. So I realized that it was worth trying. And then one devotee came to me and he said, I have a gift for you. And this devotee we just, met a couple of times. And he said, I have Srila Prabhupada's personal belonging, which is his cardigan he was wearing. And so I just wanted to give it to you as a gift. And I just couldn't believe it. That someone can just give such a valuable gift. So, and another devotee suggested that if you have doubts that it is real Srila Prabhupada's belonging, just look at the photos. If he's wearing that cardigan, then it's true. And I did that, and I found 4 photos of Srila Prabhupada wearing that cardigan. And apparently, according to the dates, it was from very early years, from 69 or 70. And this cardigan looks very simple and even kind of cheap. And this was the reason I had doubts that disciples were not buying such simple things for Srila Prabhupada. They were buying something very, expensive and high quality. But apparently, and also this cardigan is, the buttons, and so it's closing on female side. So it was actually ladies' cardigan, not for men. And no disciple would ever make such mistake. And on the photos, it's the same thing. It's female cardigan, and Srila Prabhupada was wearing that. So the only possible explanation that he bought it himself, either when he was in India or at the very first year when he came to America when he had no support. And even on those pictures ranging from 69 to 71, this cardigan already looks quite worn out. So that means he was wearing